Hello guys, we're jumping into some World Team League action today as we cast on StarCraft 2 for y'all. I'm Wardy. Hope you enjoy. World Team League is a team league event where players come out and an overall best 7 is made up of different players playing a couple of maps each. So in this series, DPG already lead 2-0 over the Shopify Rebellion. First 2 games, you don't want to see it. It was messy, horrible, crappy ZVZ. It was bad. This is going to be herO vs ByuN playing maps number 3 and 4. And the maps number 5 and 6 will actually be in tomorrow's upload. That's going to be Hearthstone versus Cure. So herO ByuN, whether it's 1-1, 2-0, 0-2, whatever, doesn't matter. The series ends after 2 maps, and tomorrow you can watch the rest of this series as Hearthstone takes on Cure. And enjoy, guys. Have a great one. Anyways, welcome to some TVP, my friends. herO versus ByuN for a bit of PvT action right now. As we kick this off, we get this started. And it is going to be a proxy Drax right across the map from ByuN, right up in the face of herO's main base. Obviously, ByuN and herO, they do trade matches quite a lot, guys. If you watch them in ESL Open Cup weeklies and stuff, these two do go pretty back and forth on maps. While herO has been really a hot topic as of late, I do feel like that's... a lot of it has been, in my eyes at least, has been in the form of... he's been a hot topic kind of mostly in that PvZ. I don't know his PvT, I mean, his PvT can be fun, it can be aggressive, it can be good, but like I say, he does trade maps a lot with ByuN. I was about to try and Ligulac it, but I actually have my spare PC's keyboard unplugged because I needed the wire to plug my controller into my other PC for later today. So, I can't Ligulac it, but I'm pretty sure they trade quite a lot. We've cast a series where they trade a lot. And so this makes this pretty fun, but I think for ByuN it's pretty important you get a 2-0 here. I mean, Hearthstone is playing Kira's maps 5 and 6. That ain't going to be easy. I think you got to give Hearthstone at least the chance just to go 1-1, push this to an ace, more so than, you know, hey, Hearthstone, we've got a 2-0 to go to an ace. Because as good as Hearthstone's been lately, a 2-0 against Kira very rarely seems like it's something that's, you know, easy to pull off, right? I mean, it's definitely not easy to pull off. So, yeah. We will see, as we do just for the moment. Have this Reaper having a great time. 3 probes is obviously fantastic damage. And you know what? This Reaper's still pretty healthy as well. It's going to try for that last probe, looping around different ways. Hero's trying to keep it deep in the mineral line, so it's harder for you to get there and to really deal with that as well. So, trying our best in that regard. It's going to be seeing our Tech Lab finishing up on the factory, and that is going to be ByuN. With some options here as well. Can go into that Cyclone quickly is one of the very common ways to get going from this, so we'll likely see something along those lines to get this all set up. As we just got our barracks coming into the main base as well. That's just getting that lined up as well. Got that barracks back home. We are going to build a second barracks too, so we are going to be kind of big on the bio as a follow-up to this. That's one unfortunate Reaper that does go down, so ByuN won't find too much else with this. I mean, that first Reaper getting so much done already has got to feel like a bit of a dream. That's already a very strong start. I feel like you've got to be feeling very happy just to get a start like that in the first place. So, yeah, probably feels pretty good here still if you're on Team ByuN. What's going to be seen our Reaper is coming up the right side of the map, trying to see what's going on. Scouting straight up this side, and just going to be, again, if possible, you know, to see the timing of a third base or so. It could be really nice with that Reaper still. It's unlikely you get into the base, but yeah, just keeping your options open, keeping it out there as a threat alone is already kind of frustrating, right? So, doing what we can. That's just going to be seeing our Reaper actually taking a shot already, so an Adept already taking some damage. Our Reaper taking some damage from the Adept. Let's go see I wouldn't mind run up at the front as we get this underway. So Blink is coming up as well. That is going to be the starting point, of course, from here. We kind of knew that was happening, so not too much of a surprise in that regard. This Reaper just going to scout in one more time, try and get some final bits of information. So he does get info. I mean, there's only 2 bases still, so ByuN's probably wondering, what are you up to at this stage? Like, what are you trying to do at this point? Because you've just been, like, you know, moving around basically all, you know, constantly here. I have you moving around. I've not seen a third base, so why haven't you expanded? What is your plan? What is the mystery that I'm missing? This is a very slow third. We're going to move up into a Robo Bay as well. There's nothing immediately aggressive. Obviously, LA to third does mean you can potentially put on more stalker pressure. I suppose we shall see. It's just going to be seen a hallucination making its way back down to the south. A few Marines get there and just going to get a few shots on the hallucination as well. Cyclone actually gets caught in the top left. I mean, not the biggest of deals to lose the Cyclone. Cyclone is typically in these situations in case there's something of a Stargate opening. A little bit of early defense. That lock-on can be quite nice against a Prism if your opponent's being aggressive. When you're being the aggressor, the Cyclone has very limited options. It doesn't add a lot to the fights, honestly. It's difficult to use. So I don't feel too sad to see that Cyclone dying so quickly there. It's going to be seen our observer around that right side. He's going to spot these two medevacs. herO will have to respond to this on the fly. He is moving over. ByuN has a few units in the center, but not too much, honestly. I don't imagine that this is going to be too successful for ByuN with the Colossus here, all the units, and even the Stalkers blinking in. Going to get rid of one medevac basically straight away. So one medevac just instantly dies. No problem at all. I'm just going to be seeing the rest of the Bio4s up through the center, heading around to the left. Away we go. There's a couple forges coming up. Extended thermal lens is coming through. ByuN just continue to get building as our Stalkers still coming into the center here. Just going to see how few Bio4s is going to try and get through to grab a Stalker or so. Not quite going to work out. We've got the Cyclone locking onto the Stalker there. The Bio4 just looking to push those Stalkers back as well. So far, again, doing a pretty decent job of this. Only back around to the top, just going to be seeing that Bio stimming through and just going to have a Stalkers at Colossi. Chase back just a handful of steps. ByuN trying to find a fight as herO. I mean, I don't think ByuN should be able to find a fight, really, right? I mean, it's been one of those games where herO's been very slow to build up in terms of expanding and stuff, and he's been really just, being patient, getting ready. If herO wasn't able to kind of push out a bit by now, then he's done something seriously wrong, because, when you've been playing the way herO does, he's not been expending units, he's not been stretching himself too thinly. So yeah, this should be, again, very difficult for ByuN to take the fight just yet, and this is why he really wants to start dropping around, moving in different directions, and trying to go from there if possible. You missed Lambo vs Rogue, was it good? No, not really. It's pretty quick, pretty uninteresting. There's going to be seen a Prism opening a Zealot on the bottom left side. Let's have our Widowmine going off, and the Zealot already going to get blown up. The other Zealot going to go down as well, and this is just, again, patient building from ByuN. He's been trying to set up two different armies. He's been setting this one up on the left for a while. I'm surprised that Prism is so okay on the left side, just stop flying in the main. This might push ByuN to be somewhat all in, because there's not really a lot of defense left at home to deal with these Zealots, and if we get a big warping of Zealots, this could be really scary for ByuN, because already 3 SCVs going down. herO doesn't warp in, and we do see a few units starting to return home, although the Zealots are also going to run to the third base, and ByuN has pulled everything back to deal with this. So ByuN has just said, no, this isn't going to really work that well. Just going to pull everything back, and see the rest of this Bioforce moving forwards. These couple of Zealots will continue to go down, so they will fall, and that Prism's going to go back out to the center of the map once again, just trying to find out what is happening. Dark Shrine is continuing up. It's coming up to completion in just a few moments. Colossus and Disruptive Production continuing on through. The Armory finishes at the back. Both these upgrades on the Engineering Base 2-2 will start to come into play now. a massive medevacs that load up and go up this right-hand side of the map, so away they're going to go, make their way to the top here, and I mean, like I say, this could actually be a really cool drop. I mean, herO doesn't have a lot of vision on that right side from what I can see. I think he's got one observer that's going to see this just as the medevacs will probably start boosting towards the base just to kind of speed up the process. Again, this main army is trying to be somewhere else as well, so you can't just over-respond to this drop in the main base. You need to make sure you split correctly. Super Battery won't last long. Okay, 2 Disruptors and 2 Colossi recalled in here. We're going to target fire down one Disruptor. He dodges the other. Then the next Disruptor still hadn't fired, so that one's actually going to be lifted into the prison to be saved. This bio fight's going okay for ByuN. There's still 2 Colossi just fighting the entire time, although he's going to kill one now. Finally, ByuN's army shows up elsewhere, but there is a good split from here. I mentioned what was recalled. It obviously wasn't the full army, and that makes this a very good defense from herO indeed, and ByuN is going to be on the run. So ByuN on the run, and yeah, it's going to be pushing that back. Colossi in this main base. We're going to load everything into the main. If we can get rid of the Colossi quickly. Feels like it took a while to get rid of the first one. Now we've got to be careful because that Disruptor shot basically forces you back. It buys the Colossus a bit more time. And just a bit more time in general for ByuN to make their way in here. ByuN's going to, I think, play around these gateways because these gateways are offering a great choke point for him to work with against the Zealots. Problem is, his extra Disruptor show up. He's going to have to start putting some distance between himself and those. And, well, this was actually a much better drop from ByuN. I believe this one went way better than before. Two DTs unloading and just going to start moving along as well. Just going to be having ourselves the Vikings back around to the left-hand side, and this Bioforce is going to go once more onto the map. ByuN is just still trying to play this very kind of drop-heavy, be-everywhere kind of style at the moment, and again, so far, it doesn't really feel like he's finding too much success with it, so not ideal just yet as the Widowmine comes in. Forces those Stalkers back. The DTs come through here. A bunch of SCVs will be going down. It's going to be 10 SCVs picked off already. We've seen that Bioforce coming through. It's one DT that gets caught, and the other one that just slips away. We do have, again, all these DTs just having to get out of here. But if you can bring all those DTs into play again, it's going to make this 4th base very difficult to keep alive for ByuN and keep healthy and mining. If you can do that, then it's generally a pretty big positive. I feel like ByuN knows these DTs are somewhere in this direction, but they've just moved back in. So he does at least have a group of units heading in to deal with this. As ByuN pulled the SCVs immediately there. So yeah, he's been looking for them. He scans, and yeah, there's nowhere good for these DTs to go. Blink into the back, and Archons. That was a very slow recall. We will drop one EMP. Can we get both the Archons? Just the one. I mean, decent save from herO. I wonder if we could have got both if he recalled instantly. He didn't have it straight away, or didn't press it straight away. Whatever happened there was obviously could have been just a little bit faster at least. Bioforce is going to continue to come through, and our Ghost is just going to be set there. As the Bioforce is going to go up the left-hand side and just going to be seeing the rocks getting knocked down for the moment or so. And he's going to start up his 3-3 upgrades. He is actually going to be trailing on that by a little bit. The 3-3 of herO pretty far along for the moment as that Bioforce comes back around. And I feel like this army of ByuN is just pure bio. He has this amount of Colossi, there's surely just no way. You have to run against those Disruptors, which will blow up Zealots. You need some kind of tech here, ByuN. I mean, this is just not cutting it. If you're going to play like this, you have to be all over the map. You have to be in multiple places. That's clearly just not the setup right now, as this one army is just being chased down. He runs away from the Disruptor shots. There's a Widowmine that he was trying to lead into there, but obviously one Widowmine's probably not going to make the difference either. ByuN at least now getting the rest of his army over to the left-hand side. There's a 3-3 from herO, so if he can find a fight in the next minute, minute and a half, he is going to be fighting with a massive upgrade lead that will help him enormously in these potential engagements. Engage in, a couple Stalkers going down. Yin's being pushed back a little bit. It's going to be seeing these Zealots still making their way out down to the south, and the Bioforce coming through. Nexus, Pylon, all going down. Zealots continuing in. Just going to be seeing an EMP going down as well. As we have our Stalkers still coming on through. A couple of Disruptor shots are going to be pretty huge. Oh, and the next two are pretty darn good as well. And herO just has money for days. He's got so much banked up, ready to go. A lot of money in the bank right now. Yeah. Continue to charge forward. Just going to be seeing our Stalkers coming through. It's going to force that orbital lift off. Going to see the Zards getting in, killing off a command center. Now ByuN is dropping on top of these few Stalkers as well. So that Marine Marauder force will come out. Just going to keep on stimming in. Battery will go down. And yeah, and honestly, if those disruptor shots hadn't connected, I think there's still a world where ByuN could do okay here. And he had to just split at some point then. He did a pretty decent job of it, right? I mean, you're looking to do as much damage as you can and really just gain as much as you can from that moment. So not a bad try, just this isn't going his way, unfortunately. This is absolutely looking to be the game of herO, and that means DPG are going to be off to a 3-0 start in this best of 7. That's going to be extremely tough for the Shopify Rebellion to come back from. ByuN will have to win on his map pick next, and then you're going to have Halston taking on KEWA. And if Halston even wins the first map, then KEWA will get map pick for map 2. That's just a terrifying prospect to win 3 in a row here. It's not going to be easy at all. And unfortunately for the Shopify Rebellion, I really feel like I say, either this had to be a 2-0, I really feel like obviously Lambo probably had to pick up a map as well. Against DPG, there's just not very much room for error, although right now ByuN is making something of this. We dive on through. I mean, honestly, good attempt. He's still not got anywhere near enough army as the disruptor shot from behind hits Stalkers. ByuN resets a lot of the tech units here, which if this game was any closer, that might have been massive, but in the game that we're currently watching, it's just not enough. If DT's coming in, these Marauders hitting their own deeper for a moment, not ideal. It's going to Archon not recall away, I guess. So just going to have the Archons tank a little bit for the Stalkers coming through from the other side. And just feels as though at this point we're pretty much waiting for the end to arrive. And as Marauders keep on going down, everything keeps on getting cleaned out. That is going to be GG's. herO is going to take the first map against ByuN. And it's a 3-0 lead for the Dragon Phoenix Gaming Squad. Wow. You don't even get told the maps that they're going to start on or anything, which is one way you could kind of maybe predict in the past. But yeah, so it's a little bit just that RNG, right? Considering ByuN's wrists are 3 out of 10, it probably impacts on the micro. ByuN's wrists actually don't have any issues when he plays from home. ByuN's wrists only have issues when he's in the GSL studio and at bigger events, and it's what they've learned, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, last I heard is that it seems to be more of a psychological thing, that when he stresses out in the biggest of events, his wrists kind of act up, or like he feels this pain or something. So I don't know if it's like some other big events, but yeah, it definitely happens mostly in GSL, because like all of the times we've casted ByuN in online events, it's never happened to him once, right? Like, we've been casting him for a good year and a bit now. He hasn't paused for wrist issues a single time in the online tournaments we cast and stuff. Not unheard of, that stress can cause tension in muscles. Yeah, it's something like that. That's what it seems to be from the last I read about it. You thought it was we're sending out Rogue who you got? Yeah, I mean, the only problem with that is how come one team has to pick their player first, right? Because they're the favorites. Underdog is favor. It would actually be, I mean, that's obviously what happens in all kill, right? If you lose a play, it's like, well, who are you going to send out against the next guy? But not quite in this format. Just a little bit too difficult to balance. Would be cool, though. I believe Shopify Rebellion helped ByuN see people to help out his wrists and stuff and so on, so it's definitely something that's being looked into professionally at this point. Wild one. So do you just have our Reaper of ByuN heading across the upper left-hand side of the map? Get this game at number 2 underway here on Curious Minds. Stargate is building from herO as well, so just getting that Stargate up and running already. Get that started. And just going to be seeing the Reaper is going to pull back away from the top left-hand side of the map. Scouts, this is one of those games where you expect that Cyclone that we saw last game, talked about it going down, not being too bothered. This time around, the Cyclone's going to have a bit more of a role to play, defensively against the Stargate, of course, so... And potentially offensively as well, if you want to go across the map and be aggressive, that is an option, so... You definitely have those things to discuss. Logic, thanks so much for gifting out 5 subs to Boy Scout BP82. You've been dropping the bits the last few days. L Sweet, Sugar Shark 666, Cyrus Post, and Luvrissa. Thank you so much for the gifted subs. I really appreciate it as we dive into this second game. Reaper has dove into the main base and has obviously scouted the Phoenix in production, so good information. Can't cut the corner against that Adept. They, well, I guess, round the corner out against the Adept. Adept does cut the Reaper off. Adept was the one cut in the corner. There's a Viking, couple of Marines. And we'll continue now to hear from ByuN. Wouldn't mind just going to burrow up out the front. Marines are there to push the Phoenix away. He's just going to chase that out of here. The warp gate going to be finishing shortly. A couple extra probes coming out. Phoenix just rallying out to the front here. As we got the robot facility, extra gate, all that continuing to set up for the moment. I always feel, I say this every time there's a Raven against Phoenix, but I always feel like it's such a brave thing to build. It's like, because it's so easy for the Phoenix to find the dive on that Raven, just to get rid of it, boom, it's gone. I get it, Ravens are good, Ravens are great, but it feels like sometimes this can be 200 gas, but you just donate into the Raven Efficiency Fund, you know? And like I say, it doesn't happen every time. I feel like Terrans have improved at keeping that Raven alive against the Phoenix plays. It is still an expense, though, and yeah, when against the Phoenix, it's probably at its absolutely most vulnerable. Even if you keep it safe in the army, there are times where sometimes the Phoenix can just say, screw it. They dive in, they kill the Raven, boom. You're down a Raven. Maybe he loses a Phoenix, but the Raven provides so much more utility than one Phoenix in that scenario. Sometimes it does have the counter effect where the Protoss player's like, oh, cool, let's dive in. They dive in, they don't actually kill anything. They don't get the Raven, it gets kept alive, and then you actually lose 2 or 3 Phoenix, then it's obviously quite bad. So, yeah, but obviously that comes down to the Protoss player kind of making the right call on when to dive or not. More so than what you can do as the Terran a lot of the time. Although you can actually have some cute target fire and stuff to help. Rudder Mine shot is good to grab the Observer there. Cleans that out. And just going to be having ByuN trying to keep hero's vision away from him. Trying to keep him from really being able to see what exactly is starting to break out in the course of this game. Number 2 between the two of them. Again, ByuN must win this map, otherwise this series is already decided. So this map is a must-win at the moment. Just to keep the Shopify Rebellion. Even with a chance. Phoenix work their way around the Widow Mine that's in the mineral line, by the way, or behind the gas, so that's cute as they get a few SCVs. That's great, just using up some of that energy. They were kind of getting high, they haven't had any reason to really use that energy until now, so getting rid of some of it in a useful way that deals damage to your opponent is always great. ByuN does have a 3rd CC starting, as he will push out for the first time with his upgrades finishing. This is where protecting that Raven becomes very important. Keep it on the other side of the Marines to where the Phoenix are. Phoenix is getting out a few shots on the Viking. If they got that many shots on the Raven, I believe it would be dead. So, yeah, it's very important you're babysitting this Raven as it marches across the map. Make sure it doesn't split ahead of your units. Make sure it doesn't just trail off one way, and let's get a cast off with it, and he is going to hit the Colossus. Pretty great force field. They bought a lot of time. You see how much time it took ByuN to get around those 2 force fields? They were really well placed, because there's also that little kind of dip in the middle. Oh, apparently the siren's going outside. You see that little gap in the middle, which kind of you have to walk around. He used that to basically extend the force field, so I'd basically be 2.5 force fields. And so ByuN just had an eternity to walk around, completely negated the effect of the interference matrix. Great little defense there from herO. They're gonna arrest Subway because they didn't deliver the cookies. Oh, Twitch chat, you're golden when it comes to comedy sometimes. Yo, that Colossus dubbed forward a little bit. Oh, I was gonna say, unfortunately, Wooden Mine didn't hit it, but actually he got the kill anyway. Yeah, that Matrix makes the Colossi dub forward when you're trying to attack move. It just kind of wanders in like, oh, well, I can't attack. I guess I'll just try and run up in case I've learned a melee attack while being interference matrixed. Obviously doesn't usually work too well, and that Colossus did die. Some good aggression from ByuN. He's obviously taking a 3rd base behind this now. That's just now coming online to be an orbital command as well. As we got our Bioforce just collecting up to that third base. The Ghost Academy going down on the natural. Getting that set up. Charge, +1 armor, sentries. All of this continuing to finish as we have herO collecting on that left-hand side. More and more units gathering together and looking to maybe go out on the map for a little bit more aggression. Wonder how many Colossi he'd feel safe with right now. Having lost a couple at this point, you know, ByuN is saying, okay, let's get some Vikings out. My Ghost Academy coming through is going to make, you know, once I hit some EMPs, everything kind of gets chewed up and spat back out much more easily. So short maps, you've got to be very careful that if you do move out here as herO, ByuN's not ready immediately for counterattack. Got to make sure he's not ready for a surround as well, because this is a pretty large map as well when it comes to open space. So it's obviously a very small map brush distance wise, but there's a lot of open areas and ramps up into a position that can then be flanked from two sides. So in that regard, the map has a lot of space to work with, and that's why it's such a tough map for Protoss. Not just the size of it, but then, you know, a lot of your armies, they really don't want to be surrounded, you know? But there is a lot of potential to be surrounded and for your splash damage to be then minimized. Disruptors have to fire in too many directions at once, and that really does negate the power of the Protoss army at times. That's a little pylon and a probe out the front for the moment. As we're going to stem forward, just going to be seeing a disruptor. Is going to go down. It's a nice catch, actually. Disruptor never got a chance to fire. That means that no Disruptor available just yet. The Raven was kept alive all this time, by the way. Actually had a double Disruptor shot there. I believe one's on a double Matrix shot there. One's on I think it's just a Stalker. I think that was meant to be two Colossi that got hit by that, so not ideal. It looks like ByuN is getting enough done anyway. Not enough splash here to keep ByuN away, and ByuN is going to kill the Robo, so no more Disruptor production. These Stalkers don't have Blink either. This kind of just that kind of Phoenix opening without the Phoenix left over anymore. It's kind of a little bit weak right now. The MP on the high ground. Finally, this Colossus dies. Here come reinforcements from both sides. The Zealots actually get a pretty good surround to help, but the reinforcing army of ByuN, I think, is going to make this be just a little bit too much. You can see these probes just coming forward. herO can't get the victory right now from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. This will go to maps 5 and 6 being meaningful.